Hello, I'm Randall Sherman, Secretary of the Chicago Philatelic Society. Welcome once again to Philately Today. And today we have a fellow board member of the Chicago Philatelic Society, Andrew Oleksiuk, who will be discussing the fourth annual Chicago Philatelic Society stamp giveaway to be held at the Taste of Chicago this year on July 6, 2008. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thanks for inviting me, Randall.
Okay, and this is a unique function. People say, well, giving away at a food event like the Taste of Chicago, giving away stamps. Well, this is the largest single one-day stamp giveaway probably in the world, and it's now going to be in the fourth year. And each year we've set what was considered to be a new record. And tell us a little bit about how it got started.
Well, as you said, this is fourth year running. I got the idea because some people in the stamp collecting community talk about how we're not getting children as involved in stamp collecting today as we have in the past. So one of the hallmarks of this program is its simplicity. Basically what we're doing is handing out stamps to kids in a little bag, and it's something unexpected. It's not something that they're expecting to get at Taste of Chicago, so there's an element of surprise there, and also just the simple grouping of stamps in a bag so that kids, are natural collectors, and they suddenly understand what it's all about, that you take these small objects that are a little bit out of context and you put them together in a group, and it sort of activates the stamp collecting gene, so to speak, in the kid. And so we've had a lot of excellent response from it. The kids just love it.
You actually started this on your own back in 2004, I believe, and tell us about how that initial sojourn to the Taste played out.
Well, I just decided to experiment on my own, and I went quite unofficially out to the Taste with a box full of bags of stamps, and I started giving them out. And I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to get in trouble because I wasn't in any way sanctioned by anyone or anything, but the response was pretty good, and I happened to talk to my alderman about getting a table at Taste the following year. And
helps he lives next door to you.
It helps that he lives next door to me, and he was able to arrange that, which is great. And Chicago Philatelic Society now officially has, for the fourth year in a row, a booth at Taste of Chicago, and that's what we do, is we give stamps out to kids. It's in the Family Fun tent, and it's where it's been in the past, and we're doing it again this year on July 6th. And we have served in the past about, my estimate is 5,000 kids in a day, so we're going to be busy.
And that's located now. The tent is located at the south end of the Taste, which is roughly by Columbus and Balboa Drives. Except, of course, Columbus and Balboa Drives will be quite close because of the fact that it's for the Taste, but that's where you walk to from Michigan Avenue or from the commuter trains, or however you're going to get to the Taste. And this year, I believe the hours that the giveaway will be going on will be from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. or so.
That's right, 11 to 6 in 7 hours. We will probably give out over 500,000 stamps. In the past, our initial year we gave out 250,000. The following year we gave out something close to 400,000+, and last year we broke the 500,000 mark. This year I think we're prepared, at least somewhat. I think there's an upward limit to how many we can do. There's just so many kids you can get there at one time. It's a very busy place.
Yeah, unless, of course, you get volunteers who are willing to go out into the crowd as well. And that, if without the volunteers, there's only so much you can do, because I've been there each year, and this last year it was basically packed, with kids from the time you set up until the time you finished, almost without much of a break. So there's only so much you can do. Obviously, if you can get some people with stamp packets to go out to because the taste extends another 3/4 of a mile to the north, and people never even get to the south end where the family fun area is. I mean, that's the story. Now, for instance, this is these are this is some of the stamps. I mean, I brought along a bunch of stamps to throw into the 500,000 or more stamps you've got already for the taste, and basically that's what they are. They're base stamps on and off cover. U.S. and foreign, and basically the kids will be we have tubs or something that they can go and sort through and pick their own.
I'm actually reminded of the Chicago Philatelic Society beehive logo, because that's what the place looks like from approximately the time that we open till the time that we close. We're usually completely mobbed with kids. Being at that south end of the taste, in the family area, that's where most of the stuff for younger children is. And on July 6th, we'll be there handing out the stamps. The kids love looking through the stamps. There's so many of them. There's sort of an issue of scale where you've got so many of a very tiny thing. The kids just love looking at the different pictures. And for those of you not familiar with stamp collecting, it's a very visual medium. The kids just like looking at the stamps. Stamps from international countries. We'll have stamps from pretty much every country in the world. Also a lot of great United States stamps. It's educational. It's something that the parents absolutely love now about coming to Taste of Chicago. They think that this is a great feature because it's something, again, unexpected for their kids to do. And although you wouldn't think that stamp collecting would be such a big feature at a summer festival, but as a matter of fact, it's something for the kids to do after, when they get home, maybe save them for a rainy day or something like that. But there is a lot of the visual interest. The stamps are very colorful. The stamps are kid-sized, so they're small. And the only thing that we ask is do not eat the stamps.
Yeah, you actually have a sign there that says that, and which we've taken photos of, and people have respond with with the humor of it. But the point is, kids realize how far it is. It's an opportunity for them to essentially travel around the world without having to go anywhere. They just reach in there in that tub and get stamps that have come from the farthest corners of the world.
Right, and in a way, it's the international tent at Taste of Chicago in a big way, because where else at Taste are you going to see things from Cuba, from Thailand, from China, from places all over the world? Plus, in terms of United States and United States history, it's absolutely unmatchable in terms of what you can see and how a child's mind can be stimulated in such a small space at one time, and it's something lasting. If you get a corn dog, it's pretty much gone within 5 minutes if you're lucky. But stamps last a lifetime, and I know that when I was young, I had someone that got me started on stamp collecting, and so we're providing that function for kids in Chicago who wouldn't otherwise have that introduction to stamp collecting. It's, like I said, the parents love it because it's something educational and fun for their children, and the kids love it because it's colorful, it's interesting, and it engages their imagination, and it's the perfect antidote for everything else that can be a little bit chaotic. And when you're done with the water slides, that holds your interest for a while. The Ferris wheel holds your interest for a while. The food, there's only so much of it you can eat, although some of us test that theory occasionally. And Taste Chicago is a lot of fun, and we like to think that we add that added element that wouldn't otherwise be there. And for kids, like I said, who wouldn't otherwise have an introduction to stamp collecting, this is a hobby that can last a lifetime, I know, as it has for many of us in Chicago Philatelic Society. And stamp collecting is the one of the most popular hobbies in the world. Perhaps not so much in the United States, but certainly in other countries.
No. It is. I mean, you're talking about here. You look at the level of national level shows. We have as many national level shows here in the United States each year as the rest of the world combined.
Right. I'm just talking about among young people.
Young people, it's just a question of getting it tied in and pointing out here's something you can do. Here's something you can, like. It's just a question of focusing on it, and you've done an outstanding job, and you've been honored for it.
Right. Well, kids are natural collectors, so it's not. You really don't have to twist their arm. I mean, kids do collect things that are available to them, whether it's bottle caps to Yu-Gi-Oh cards to dolls to just about anything else. We're responding to a need by providing this function. So I know that the advanced collectors have a solid organization in the United States, and we're working on getting more kids involved. And hey, everyone knows that mail volume is down, and you don't see stamps as casually as you do in the past. But there's a connection for anybody that uses the internet. In other parts of the world, usually your internet service provider actually is your post office, your telegraph and post telephone, telegraph, and post office. Who is your internet service provider. So in other parts of the world, there's a direct link to the post office when you're using the internet, but the United States not so much. And so one of the things that we're aiming to educate kids on in general is that communications is something that's very important in our communities in general, and postal history and philately has been part of that for a very long time, and it's not going anywhere. I think it's going to stay with us for a very long time.
You're watching Philately today. We're discussing the upcoming Chicago Philatelic Society stamp giveaway to be held at the Taste of Chicago on July 6th, Sunday, 2008, and at the Family Fun area at the south end of the Taste. And with me is Andrew Oleksiuk, a Chicago Philatelic Society board member, who is the Director of Stamps for Kids and is the most recent recipient of the Ernest Kerr Future in Philately Award from the American Philatelic Society, which you received at Chicago PEX last November for your work in creating this annual event and other things involving giving out getting young people involved in stamp collecting.
Right. Well, thanks for mentioning that. The Kerr Award was a huge surprise for me.
Well, considering I basically had plead for you to get to the show to get the award.
Well, a little bit of other priorities and a little bit of not quite paying attention, but believe me, the surprise was real, and I very appreciative of receiving that award. And you're right; it's for mainly for the work that I'm doing with kids at Taste of Chicago, and once again we'll be there July 6th, 2008 for the stamp giveaway. And I just think kids really like stamp collecting when they get introduced to it, because there's so many angles for them to collect. Every kid decides to collect a different way. Every adult decides to collect a different way. And one of the both the challenges and the joys of stamp collecting is that there's so much that you follow your own passion. You can decide what to do and how to do it.
That's true, because you can collect a specific topic. I mean, young people, as I mentioned, one kid had said like to collect birds on stamps. Others might want flags on stamps, or dogs or cats. Others might want, a young person might want to collect stamps involving young people or women or anything like that. And obviously there are a variety of topics, and there's stuff from countries that, at the young ages they may not even have heard of. And you explain to them, well, this, the wording on this indicates it's such a country. For instance, let's see, Magyarposta is Hungary, and things like that. Because
Right.
now of them are spelled in plain English because they speak different languages,
Right.
and they learn more. They learn more about it. And if it's helpful to them later on in school, well, that makes it easy. It gives them a leg up because. When the teacher starts talking about a subject, all of a sudden it kicks in their mind, yeah, I got the stamps on that person or that subject they're talking about at home. I already know a bit about it, which, trust me, when I was going to school way back when, that helped at more than one occasion, topics that were, something I knew about. And you learned about things, and and it helps you even later in life.
Sure, and with this introduction in stamp collecting, if you decide to collect topicals, as you mentioned, dogs or cats, the incredible variety is one of the things that most people don't expect. I mean, there are so many stamps when you start including all the countries of the world. There's just millions upon millions of stamps, and so a dog collection could become huge. And you can start small, you can start simple, it's very easy, it's very inexpensive. In fact, if you want to start a collection of dogs on stamps or cats on stamps or bees on stamps or rockets on stamps or robots on stamps or something like that, come down to Taste of Chicago on July 6th, and we're going to have a starter collection there for you for free, and it will include stamps from all over the world. Some kids and adults collect stamps by country, so it's very common that if you are from Mexico, or you are from Germany, or you are from Korea or something like that, that you collect your heritage. That's a very common and
Right.
correct way to collect stamps.
We have we have countries. We have stamp organizations in the Chicago area, a number of clubs that cater to specific areas of the world. Lord knows I'm a member of several of them. Where it be Scandinavian Collectors Club or Israel Palestine Philatelic Society of America or Germany Philatelic Society, United Nations Collectors of Chicagoland, or even the Ukrainian Stamp Club. A variety. Just a number of those. And obviously, the name of the club, indicates what their interest is. But then you have general interest clubs, and people find topics and such that suit them. And sometimes people will start with one topic or country, and they expand to another or over the years. Because we have people who have started when they were small children, and they're in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, and are still collecting.
Right, and which is such another great thing about stamp collecting is that the various levels at which you can participate, as you mentioned. A kid can become a basic stamp collector very easily, very quickly and easily, almost overnight, by just starting to collect stamps given to them by friends and relatives, just by making a request. And you'll probably initially get a lot of United States stamps, but you can also creatively think of ways to get international stamps. You can come down to Taste of Chicago and get a free starter kit, stamp collecting starter kit from the Stamps for Kids booth down at the Family Fun area. And so you can start with being a basic collector and get a lot of satisfaction out of that. You can become an intermediate collector, so to speak, and these are just arbitrary categories that I'm making up. But an intermediate collector might be someone who not only buys stamps at their post office, but also maybe participates in sending out envelopes and decorating their mail, and maybe corresponding with other stamp collectors and trading stamps. And then there's advanced collectors who exhibit at shows and form.
And, young people could exhibit as well. We have our two major shows here, Complex and Chicago Pex, and we have youth exhibits at both. And and at Chicago Pex, you have awards for the best youth exhibits and such, as is with major national level shows across the country. And I tell kids when while they're getting these stamps, I'm often giving stories. And for instance, I tell them about the time at one national show on the East Coast I was at, where a young usually at the national shows they announce the youth winners first. And so you had this young girl whose parents were involved with the American Philatelic Society, had this exhibit that they won the best youth exhibit for a silver medal for, I think it's Why I Love Horses is the name of her exhibit. And she was real proud, and after getting her awards, she decided to help out the rest of the evening in passing out the awards for the adult exhibits, which is helpful because the banquet hall, if I recall, was kind of cramped, and there wasn't a lot of space between tables for my size 15 shoes to get through that easily. She was what, eight years old or so, 8, 9 years old. It's a lot easier for her to squeeze between the chairs there and get the awards. And lo and behold, she gives them to her awards for her parents. Each had an exhibit. Unfortunately, instead of silver, they only had silver bronze, which is one level lower. And I guarantee you that the following week at school, she was talking about how she got a better award than her parents did at the show. And I suspect her parents probably haven't heard the end of it.
Yeah, and and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's a great additional way to start getting kids more involved. I mean, once you start collecting, really there is no end to it. It's like I mentioned, it's a lifetime hobby potentially. I myself started when I was about 7, and I got an introduction to stamps by my father, and he encouraged me to collect, and I did for a short while, and then I didn't come back to it until a little bit later in life. But the passion with which that introduction can fuel a later interest is quite remarkable, and so that's why we encourage all kids, whether you're much younger, like 5 years old, or 10 years old, or 15 years old. There's something that's going to be able to hold your interest, whether you're interested in collecting your heritage or a specific country, maybe something like Japanese art fascinates you, or maybe something like trains or cars fascinates you. You're going to find those things on stamps. You can later turn that around into a paper that you do for school, a topical paper of some sort. It's something that's going to fuel your interest in other things. And so we mentioned that stamp collecting is not only fun, but it's also educational in that way, and it can become a lifelong hobby, which is a good thing.
Okay, now one thing we want to mention is that we also, during the course of the year, we'll be going back to you've sent out stamp packets to various schools and libraries and other youth facilities, and to get them involved during the course. You're not just waiting for the once a year of summer event that we have, and that should be pointed out. Now, if people want to donate stamps, and they've been continuing. How do they do that? Let people know where they should send the stamps, or want to help out on July 6th.
Right. Well, the main thing is what you can do is you can call me at the number on your screen, 773-736-2745, and we can arrange a pickup, or you can mail the stamps to me.
Or you have an email address as well.
Right. My email address is mailart@earthlink.net. That's mailart@earthlink.net, and we can make arrangements. A lot of people, maybe they open envelopes at work and they have access. They can clip the stamps off at work and create a huge pile of stamps.
Which is often, and a lot of them send them also to the CPS post office box, which is and such. But as I say, there are ways of sending this mail to us, and getting it and we get lots of packages and such.
Right. We already have for the giveaway already 500,000 stamps this year easily. So we're going to have more. We're going to have extras left over depending on how many we can possibly do. Maybe we'll break last year's record in giving over 500,000 stamps away. But certainly
depends on the number of volunteers we get.
Depends on the number of volunteers we get. But we've had such a big interest, and the interest has sort of gone national, if you will, and so we do get stamp donations from all over the United States. We actually get stamps from some other countries outside of the United States, which is really nice. But most of our stamps come from within the United States. But there's so many collectors who are so generous, and they know that they have extra stamps, duplicates, stamps that they don't need. That's our main source of stamps. But anyone can get involved. It helps a little bit if you're a stamp collector yourself to begin with, but we will organize volunteers if you want to help us out on the day of the taste as well. And one of the ways of getting involved is by calling me at 773-736-2745.
And it is an incredible feat to see people have come in and they just, we set things up there, we put little posters up and we explain things to the youngsters and to their parents, and we find and they're just remarkable as explaining what's going on, and what you have come up with is truly a remarkable achievement. And
well, I think one of the hallmarks of our program is its simplicity. We really don't try to sign you up to become a member of the Chicago Philatelic Society, when you're 7. I mean, not that that would be a bad thing, but we're not out there. What we're doing is we're activating that stamp collecting gene. Kids are natural collectors, and when they see the collection of stamps there, and it's basically an introduction into the world of stamps. So if later on they're going to start a stamp club in their school, or they're going to join a local stamp club that already exists in their community, then that's an added bonus. If they're going to start using stamps as part of their schoolwork to do exhibits, like I said, on topics or something like that, that's an added bonus. And if they start exhibiting and become an advanced stamp collector later,
okay, time's run out. Andrew, thanks for coming. Andrew Oleksiuk from the Chicago Philatelic Society. Remember, Stamps for Kids, the Chicago Philatelic Society stamp giveaway, July 6th at the Taste of Chicago. This is Randall Sherman for Philately today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy stamp collecting.